You're live with the guy Monday through Friday. We got F1, some box office numbers, and a little bit of an update on Blade. This is my last show with my producer, Nat.
Hello.
She's going to be gone for the week, so things may be a little bit hectic for the rest of the week. The shows are going to be shortened down a little bit just while I learn the technical things. So hopefully when you get back, I can actually be running the show on my own, but maybe that's wishful thinking. Let's go right into this first article. And it's Jurassic Park.
World. So from Deadline, Dynamite, Jurassic World Rebirth bows to 318.3 million global in biggest studio opening year to date. Worldwide, F1 nears 300 million and Dragon tops 500 million from the international box office.
So this was a big box office weekend, and I did say Jurassic Park was a bad movie, and that's what the critics are saying, but I said it would do good at the box office because this is the kind of movie that even if it's bad, kids are going to go force their parents to watch. If you have two kids, a mother and a father, that's 4 people. So I thought this would succeed at the international box office. I also thought it would succeed because even if you don't necessarily speak the language, you can still watch the movie and follow what happens. This has kind of been Hollywood's game plan when it came to Marvel movies and other things. Less dialogue, more visuals, so it appeals to an international audience that may not speak the language well. Okay, let's read the article just a little bit.
So Universal Ambulance Jurassic World Rebirth has come in with a monster 318.3 global launch, making it the biggest worldwide opening of the year for a studio film so far. It's also got bragging rights to becoming the second biggest start for the franchise behind 2015's Jurassic World.
Yeah, and it didn't do nearly as well domestically. Globally, it did fantastic. That being said, this was a 6-day opening. They keep trying to say it's 5, but no, it's 6. They basically had a week to fiddle with these numbers. This is a little bit ridiculous how these movies are having an unfair advantage against traditional classic movies with a regular Friday, Saturday, Sunday box office. And even modern movies, they keep extending it out. This is craziness. Okay, let's go into the next article here. Okay, and here we go.
So Jurassic World Rebirth stomps to 147 million over July 4th holiday weekend.
And again, this is a 6-day box office. How they're able to get a 6-day box office, I don't know, but it seems like they just picked the day and they tell these trade papers, well, we're going to count all 6 days. Pretty soon it's definitely going to go to 7. So that's all I can say. As these movies make less and less money, they want to keep acting like they're breaking numbers. How can they do that? They keep extending the days for the opening weekend. This is an opening week, not an opening weekend. Okay, let's read just a little bit here.
Dinosaurs.
1 minute. 147 million was the domestic box office. That was a little bit under projections. Right before it released, they tried to redo the projections and lowered the expectation, so it looked like they would hit the numbers. But originally, the numbers were a lot higher.
So dinosaurs are ruling the box office again. Jurassic World Rebirth, the 7th installment in Universal's long-running prehistoric series, stomped to 147.3 million over its first 5 days in 4,308 North American theaters. Those ticket sales are enough to tower over domestic charts during the star-spangled 4th of July holiday weekend and likely position the latest Jurassic as one of the biggest hits of the summer.
Yeah, I don't know about that at all. I think this is going to have a big fall off, and that's kind of what I said. I said this movie would do well on its opening weekend, and even though it was a bad movie, it would do well at the box office internationally because you don't necessarily need English speakers, plus the kids would just force the parents to go. Overall, though, Jurassic toys, Jurassic shirts, when I go to the stores, when I go to the Walmart, when I go to the mall, this stuff is not popular. Nobody's picking it up, not even the kids. They will go watch the movie, but I would expect a huge drop next week. But maybe that's just my expectation because it's a bad movie. Okay, with these box office numbers, I think they definitely will make another one. And without a female lead next time, it might actually be a lot better. So, okay, let's quickly go into the next article here. And it's, I believe, more box office numbers. We had a lot of box office numbers coming in from the weekend.
So from Variety, F1 overtakes Napoleon as Apple's highest grossing film with 293 million.
Yeah, and this is fantastic to see. It's not necessarily doing as well as I thought it would do at the box office. I was hoping for a little bit better, but I don't think this movie is going to have the same kind of drop off a Jurassic Park or other movies are. So a lot of these movies are starting to have 70% drop offs week to week. God, I'm trying to. There was a movie last week that had a 70% drop off. Anyway, this did very well internationally, and I was surprised. So race fans internationally are really driving to the theater, which is nice. Domestically, it was good, but not as good as I would have expected, especially with Brad Pitt. And you see even on the promotional material here, it's red, white, and blue streams from the jets over his head and things like this. So this was really geared towards an American audience, traditional action movie. So I thought the Americans would really come out a lot more. They are supporting it, and it is having amazing reviews from the independent media, which is absolutely fantastic. But it's the international box office that's really driving the movies for this weekend, whether it was Jurassic Park or F1 with Brad Pitt here. Let's read just a little bit.
When it comes to Apple's biggest films, F1 the movie has officially moved to pole position. F1 has generated $293 million at the global box office after 10 days of release, overtaking the entire theatrical runs of Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon, $158 million worldwide, and Ridley Scott's Napoleon with $221 million to stand as Apple's highest grossing movie to date. That's not particularly difficult benchmark to break since Apple has only released 5 films theatrically, and 2 of them, Fly Me to the Moon and Argylle, were outright flops.
Well, and I talked about this before. I do a lot of pop culture news and upcoming movies, and I keep seeing Apple's name pop up with Amazon. I'm expecting these two giants to kind of become even bigger. They now have international distribution contracts. So I'm expecting big things from both these companies, especially from Apple. Apple is going to have a tough time transitioning their manufacturing with their phones and things. They might want to lean heavy into film. Film right now for a success, the equation's very easy. Go away from woke progressive crap and start making traditional movies. Apple's absolutely desperate for box office numbers because their other businesses are going to be dying over the next couple of years while they transition their manufacturing. So I'm expecting Apple to go into really traditional movie making here and make some good movies, solid scripts, solid actors that would drive people and audiences to the theaters. Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, that's what I would expect. Apple's in a very tight financial position right now with their manufacturing, kind of in limbo with the tariffs. They need to get out of China. They're trying to move to India and back to America. Their bottom line is really tight right now, but in films particularly, well, other studios can try to stick with their ideology. Apple can't afford to do that right now. And I think every studio kind of knows if you want to make money, just go back to traditional good movie making. Okay, let's go into Blade now. And I should have put this on the cover because the one time we did put Blade on the cover, he did extremely well, and you were dead set against me putting him on there.
So from Deadline, Mahershala Ali dodges Marvel question amid Blade delays. Leave me out of it.
And he doesn't even want to say if he's in this thing, if he's not into this thing. There was rumors they wanted to use him to transition Blade to a female lead eventually, which is craziness. This movie has been in the works for over a decade now. They can't seem to get it done. When I first heard about Ali possibly taking over from Wesley Snipes, I was kind of against it, but he is a pretty good actor, and the problem is everything else. If they want to make this thing feminism and they're just using him as an in-between to kind of get this to a female lead, I don't know. If they do make him the lead, they do need somehow to work in Wesley Snipes in there because there is this big fan campaign to bring Wesley back. I don't necessarily think they will, but they need to bring him in on a cameo or something.
So regardless of the franchise, Mahershala Ali just can't outrun the Daywalker while promoting Jurassic World Rebirth, now in theaters. The 2-times Oscar winner recently avoided the question of what's up with Marvel's Blade reboot when co-star Jonathan Bailey asked him and Scarlett Johansson how many MCU movies they'd each appeared in.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to even work Wesley Snipes into this remake because he's actually taking over the character. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but they're going to need Wesley's blessing with this thing, even if they only pay him for the promotion of this movie and don't actually bring him back and have him say, you know, I'm getting a little bit too old for Blade. Now, for him to say that, they're going to have to pay him a lot of money, but the fans want to see Wesley at this point. They don't want to see feminism, especially with this movie being 10 years in the making. There is going to be a ton of progressive crap try to be pushed into this movie. So they need to keep holding off and totally rework this script, I think.
So leave me out of it, Ali quipped with a laugh during a round of rapid-fire questions in Vogue's Off the Cuff. That's a Scarlet question.
Is there any more to this?
Uh,
Let's read just a little bit more.
Well, they just go on to say, like, what they each appeared in. So, but Bailey acknowledged of Ali's upcoming solo outing. Well, there's one that we're very excited about. Although Ali voiced Blade for a credit scene following 2021's Eternals, he's yet to make a physical appearance in the MCU. Marvel just confirmed the Blade reboot with Ali back in 2019, but the project has since been met with multiple delays, including directors Bassam Tariq and Yann Demange's exit from the film and the 2023 WGA strike.
Yeah, and this movie could technically do really well, but they just need to stay away from feminism. If they put even a whiff of feminism in this movie, it's going to bomb. If they don't, it really has a chance to succeed. He is a very strong actor. And if they can bring Wesley Snipes into the promotion, it should do well. Let's go into the last article of the day. And again, this is a shortened stream today. All week this week is going to be shortened because I really rely on my producer, Nat, to do all the technical aspects. Tomorrow may be a disaster.
You'll do fine. So from Reuters, TikTok building new version of app ahead of expected U.S. sale, the information reports.
Yeah, and Trump keeps delaying the sale, but it's obviously in the works. And if they're building an app right now, it's definitely in the works, and they must be getting close to closing this thing because this has got to be This must be costing hundreds of millions of dollars to build the U.S. version of TikTok app. The algorithms and everything else are going to be extremely important to the success of this app. Let's read just a little bit here.
So TikTok is building a new version of its app for users in the United States ahead of a planned sale of the app to a group of investors, the information reported on Sunday, citing unnamed sources. This comes as U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday he will start talking to China on Monday or Tuesday about a possible TikTok deal. He
was saying the TikTok deal's in the works. It's in the works. Oh, we're going to give it another 90 days. Now he's just saying he's going to just start talking about the deal. I mean, I'm a huge Trump supporter, don't get me wrong, but this TikTok thing has just been here and there and then back again.
It seems there's been going a lot of that going on lately. He said the United States pretty much has a deal on the sale of the TikTok short video app. TikTok has developed a plan to launch the new app to U.S. app stores on September 5th, the report said.
Yeah, and to be honest, like with you, if they wanted to ban TikTok, fine, but I just don't see them. The U.S. government kind of stepped in and forced the sale to a U.S. company and U.S. business partners. This is a little bit crazy. Well, the U.S. can't do it as good as China on their own. They have to force China to sell their goods to them so then they can control it.
Well, because we don't want an app that can be used to harness information by China.
Yeah, so ban the app totally.
That's what I said. But
now you're forcing foreign corporations to sell to the U.S. The U.S. should be able to make their own apps just as good. Okay, let's go into this a little bit. And this is kind of I'll save that for the political show.
Last month, Trump extended to September 17 a deadline for China-based ByteDance to divest the U.S. assets of TikTok. The report added that TikTok users will eventually have to download the new app to be able to continue using the service, although the existing app will work until March of next year, though the timeline could change. TikTok did not immediately respond to Reuters' request for comment. Reuters could not immediately confirm the report. A deal has been in the works earlier this year to spin off TikTok's U.S. operations into a new U.S.-based firm, majority owned and operated by U.S. investors. That was put on hold after China indicated it would not approve it following Trump's announcement of steep tariffs on Chinese goods.
Yeah, and this is something we'll definitely have to keep an eye on. Right now, I'm keeping a very close eye on China. We do have a political show at night. Monday through Fridays. That being said, that there's a lot of rumors about Xi Jinping being out and somebody new being in. We should know by October. They currently, it looks like, or rumored that they're not letting Xi Jinping leave the country. He's looking to perhaps defect with his wife. That's why they wouldn't let his wife leave to his Russia visit recently. That's also why Xi Jinping wasn't at the BRICS summit in Brazil over the last few days. He was expected to be there, and they called off his trip just before he was expected to go over there. So there's a lot of turbulence in China. I think behind the scenes, Trump is really turning up the pressure on China, especially because I've been following China recently, and it's shocking how much pressure behind the scenes Trump is putting on the entire BRICS organization. I'll talk about that more on my political show tonight, but before I wrap today, I just say the shows are going to be shortened this week. Also, they might go on at slightly different times in case I have guest appearances on other shows. I'm supposed to be on with Fun with the Bradleys.
Follow the Bradleys Fun, I believe.
Follow the Bradleys.
But I don't know what the show is called.
Okay. Well, okay. That being said, I may be going on at slightly different times. She's going to be, my producer Nat's going to try to appear and make control the switcherboard remotely and stuff like that. So there is a lot of new technology. Sometimes they may have Nat on the nightly show through the phone plugged into the audio board, and hopefully that works. We've never tried that either. So thanks for tuning in. Please be forgiving when you're watching the show this week. These aren't our normally shows. They're normally an hour long. They're normally right on time, and they normally run a lot more smooth with the technology. But thanks for tuning in today. I will be on later tonight, hopefully with Nat remotely. Adios.
Goodbye.